I'm Maximo Salazar, author of Draconem Dawn, a science fiction novel about dinosaurs that managed to survive a mass extinction event and now happen to fancy themselves as dragons. In this channel, I'm going to be reading my book chapter by chapter, and I'll hopefully release once every week. So if you enjoy it, please like and hit the subscribe button. At the end of this journey, I'm going to be signing this book that I'm reading from, and I'm going to be giving it away to one lucky reader. Here we go. Audio clip from the Quet's Supreme Chancellor, Her Highness Kira Ave Strongbird, to humanity, recorded by NORAD. You want to know who we are and where we came from? Let me tell you then. We were once dinosaurs, the Quetzalcoatlus, relics of a forgotten world that once teemed with life. The largest of our kind, our ancestors ruled the skies of the Great Cretaceous era, while the fate of the rest of the giant lizards was sealed with a dark shutter. The mass extinction event, a small group of us survived the blast and over 300 million years evolved into a sentient and highly advanced civilization. We may have remained hidden from you for many millennia, but there was a time when you once knew us openly. In fact, the entirety of your advancement was due to our intervention. We lived side by side in harmony, but you had a different name for us then. Know then that our assistance in your development is deemed a catastrophic error in our judgment and one that we aim to rectify. We allowed your race to manage Tur, or as you refer to her, Earth. You have failed to protect her, and despite your acknowledgement of this fact, have done nothing to correct it. You choose to blame one another and engage in war instead, and further exacerbate her destruction. We were ready to depart for a better, uncorrupted world, leaving Tur in your hands, but you brought war to our clans without cause by taking the life of my betrothed. Now you will be eradicated for the betterment of all life on Tur, present and future. The planet continues to descend into chaos, and we must honor Spirit Tur and fix what you have broken. You will not survive our onslaught, for we are Dracons. Prologue. Insul. The gravity of the Quetz's problems weighed heavy on the Supreme Chancellor. Life was slowly becoming normal for the single mother, but not spending time with her daughter became commonplace and increasingly difficult for her. Fortunately, her daughter's assigned guard, Lieutenant Colonel Aquila, behaved more like an older sister to her young ward. Insul was not sure if Aquila would surrender her post once Kira ascended to adulthood at the onset of her 17th stellar rotation, but she secretly hoped she would not, due to her daughter's deep affection for her. But of course, Aquila also needed to think of her own career. Insul sat in her opulent seat, a shimmery red-hued crystal that was generously padded with the finest synthetic materials. Before her, an ornate and polished marble desk held all the tools she required to lead her race. Chief among them, a hollow projector and its seemingly invisible system interfaces. She ruled her people from this perch. She made decisions that affected their daily lives, here in the Americas as well as in the continents of Africa, Asia, Europe, and even a small contingent on Australia. As for Antarctica, they had not stepped foot on its mass since before its freezing. Her main concern at the moment, the thing that caused her to fret even before accepting the near-unanimous vote by the Council of Elders to the Chancellorship, was the state of Tur. Once a resplendent world filled with life and purity, it was now more of a wasteland, dotted with human ceramic structures and oil-based roads that further exacerbated the already climbing atmospheric temperature. Bipeds spewed toxic fumes and dumped radioactive waste into the very waters that served all life. This was only the beginning of the atrocities that humanity committed. Insul knew that the time of the Quets on Tur was nearly over. They would inevitably have to leave their beloved world to seek out a new home. Insul and three of the elders were in the early stages of designing and building a ship large enough to house their entire populace. Once completed, they could depart for a cleaner and healthier world. Only 3 elders, she remembered. She still had not appointed her replacement as the head of her clan, the Sakran. Her brother, Val, was the obvious choice, but he continually reminded her of this. She well understood that blood is thicker than water, but it was also the very trap by which many a leader had fallen victim to. Val had always been jealous of her success. There were other royal members of her house that she could choose from, but that could relegate her daughter to a lesser position in the future, and Val did not have children. Should anything happen to her, he would act as Kira's legal guardian and as such potentially groom her for the seat as successor. Still, she was not sure that this was the best path. Parched, she looked around her cavernous room for a vial of glacial water that was delivered to her earlier in the day as part of her late morning snack. Too busy with her duty, she passed up on the opportunity to have a little something and was feeling peckish. Supper was 3 hours away, so she decided to replenish her fluids and have a small bite. She walked to the small stable by the door where she finally spotted her meal and grabbed the vial. Firmly in her left hand, her inner left talon glanced the top of the tube, opening it up and exposing a straw from which to drink. With one swift sucking motion, the contents were fully emptied. She felt the usual coolness of glacier water course down her throat and felt refreshed. A moment later, though, the refreshing sensation was replaced by something warmer. The shimmering silver robes that covered her full frame felt heavy on her shoulders. Without hesitation, she quickly tore them off, exposing her red feathers. The cool air did nothing to comfort her, and her perspiration quickly drenched her. She immediately recognized what was happening. She was poisoned and would die within seconds. She knew who had killed her, but had only enough time to focus on the love of her life, Kira, her only daughter. The walls were moving and the ceiling was falling down on her. The faux solar light that glowed from within the walls and ceiling was dimming rapidly. Stumbling over her slippery robe that let fall to the floor, she fell onto her perch, furiously struggling to focus on the hollow screen. The Quetsian characters were a blur to her fading vision, but she managed to locate the transcriber icon and pressed it on the ephemeral screen. She motioned her right hand to begin the recording and blurted out who would replace her as clan elder just before losing consciousness. But she forced herself to utter one last thing. Send last recording to all clan elders immediately. That ends the chapter for today. But hopefully this will pick up and more people will join, which will allow me to go ahead and continue reading this book. See you next week.